NPR airs an abortion in Michigan, an abortion of twins. The mother obviously consents to it, to support this abortion bill in Michigan, which passed. And now they have abortion through 40 weeks. So the Wolverines are rejoicing. And they air this, and the woman is clearly in pain. The suction is the unbearable part of the audio. So you were on the other side as an abortion provider. Can you imagine when you were doing abortions and you believed in it and you've always said, well, I did it for the money, but any meeting, any interaction with an abortion clinic director where you said, you know where we could sell more abortions? If we really opened up people's hearts to this, these crazy pro-life people, is we should air the audio of an abortion on the radio.
This illustrates, Sean, how we've totally disconnected from any compassion. I can't conceive of why anyone would want to share the audio or video, for that matter, of something so tragic, something so harmful. That I'm a twin,
That's right.
but whether it be a twin or a singleton, why would you want to hear the torture of a woman? Why would you want to hear the abuse of a child or a trafficked child? Why would you want to? We've reached an insensitivity level, a dehumanization level where the threshold is so high. Now we have no shame. We have no shame.
No shame, but who would do it? I wouldn't agree with it. But if you wanted to do shock value, here you go. Listen to one. There are contexts where the graphic images of abortions are very helpful in debates or university settings where you can convince people. Planned Parenthood fundraisers, this is what you're supporting. There was an abortion in Unplanned, but that wasn't to garner support and compassion for abortion. That was to show how barbaric it is.
Absolutely.
And I mean, wouldn't you think even now, yes, we're insensitive, but the abortion industry at large, Planned Parenthood's CEO is very incompetent right now, but many of their executives are very talented, smart people. I mean, was there a phone call made at NPR, you think? Like, what in the world?
Well, we have, we're supposed to have certain layers of the hierarchy, producers, editors, who you would think someone who's not brain dead would say, wait a minute here, we've lost it. Now, there is a place for some of these images, there is a place for some of this audio, but not in the gross wholesale way. We know that certain injustices, be it a lynching, the civil rights movement, that images, yes, appropriately used, will bring the public to a realization of how bad something is. Mm-hmm. But to use it in the opposite way as a Madison Avenue elevation, I just don't get it. But when we look at the Bible, we talk about how sin, God will eventually turn your mind over to that sin. So what we're seeing is a manifestation of how the mind is just become so depraved that they would do something like this. They're exposing the depth of their own evil, and it's astonishing.
We're sick.
Very sick.
We're a sick culture, and that's the approach of 40 Days for Life. I mean, we don't run out and scream at the abortion doctors and the nurses and the women going in and say you're all going to burn in hell. We recognize they're not the enemy. The devil is the enemy, and this is spiritual warfare. And if you don't believe that, then you definitely need to listen to the NPR audio. Mm-hmm. But it is spiritual warfare, and we have to realize we're in a hospital. We're not on a battlefield, and there's a lot of sick patients, and it is a war in that sense, but there's a lot of sick patients, and they scream at the top of their lungs that they're not sick and they're just fine. But we're a sick culture, and it was dipping your finger in the pool to see the temperature, and the NPR temperature was cold, cold-hearted. And I think however, big picture, they would have never done this 3 years ago. They would have never done this 10 years ago. Bernard Nathanson left the abortion industry. He was the first abortion doctor to convert, and he showed the ultrasound because he witnessed an ultrasound-guided abortion. It was the opposite, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They were not prepared for the overturning of Roe. They've been using the same washed-up talking points of reproductive rights and a woman and her doctor and my body, my choice. Now we have forced birth and all this nonsense, and they haven't been able to defend the indefensible because you have to deny science so that you can dehumanize and kill. So we get stuff like this.
Well, dehumanization is the key to it, because they no longer even use the term baby. They only use terms like reproductive rights, and we have to adapt to their change of language. We have to use words like genocide and recognize that through their movement, they have wiped out almost an entire people group, Down syndrome children. We have to say it's genocide. And abortion may be the tool, but abortion as a word has lost its power. It's genocide when you can go to the city of New York and recognize that there are more abortions than there are live births in black people. Now, where are all the black leaders now? Why aren't they talking about the birth rates in not only in the United States, but in areas like the Caribbean, which are below 2? And those are all targets and goals that were set decades ago by the eugenicists, Margaret Sanger and all her cohorts, to basically cause this genocide to happen. So,
and everybody's inner eugenicist comes out. Because when Roe was overturned, what did they say? The minority poor women will have nowhere to go for their health care.
Access.
And it was immediate, like, not abortion as health care, and this is terrible, it's the poor minority.
The poor black people can't get enough abortion. Oh, well, how the heck did we get the fertility rate down to 1.8?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't fall by accident.
Right. Now, it's so true, and this is why we hit the ground running in post-Roe, and we have, and it's busy. And just speak to, you traveled a lot, for the campaign. You'll be going to more places for the spring campaign. We have 40 Days for Life 365 going around. Some people are frustrated with the elections, but we're moving on. We got to keep going. Like, what do you say to people? We have new problems because we're winning. Overturning of Roe was historic. It was a great day for our country, and we should be proud of it. But it creates new challenges, and we've got to have the guts and the fortitude to keep going.
We do, and we should be encouraged. We should only pop the champagne bottles so long, because we got to recognize, yes, abortion is still continuing, but we've got to adapt our language. We've got to become more aggressive. We've got to use media such as this and continue speaking the truth. They're not speaking the truth. I think in the long run, truth will always trump lies, and we're going to continue to do a full court press, not only through our organization, 40 Days for Life, but through the whole pro-life movement. And I'm so energized by the youth. The youth have this energy that encourages me, so that I know that when I close my eyes, they are going to be doing some wonderful, wonderful work.